Hey, welcome back to the Outright Garage. We're excited to have you here, and we have 3 questions that we are going to answer today. All right, I said we have 3 questions that we're finally going to be able to answer. Question number 1. Who in the world is crazy enough to put an LS and a 5-speed into a 1983 Mazda B2000? Well, I guess I'm the one crazy enough to do it, but the one who asked for it to be done is Arthur Rogers. This is Arthur Rogers. I work with him. He's the proud owner of the 83 Mazda B2000. And Arthur, everybody wants to know, why in the world would you put an LS and a 5-speed manual into an 83 Mazda B2000?
It's the ultimate sleeper.
The ultimate sleeper. Well, I have to admit, everyone who pulls up on this thing, they would never assume that you have a fire-breathing dragon inside of it. Okay, so it's the ultimate sleeper. I'll agree with that. Question number 2. Why a Mazda B2000? So many cars and trucks out there that you would spend that money on. Why a Mazda B2000? Why that particular truck? Why not a Datsun?
The sentimental value for it, for me, is because I got to drive it in high school. I got to drive it on dates with my wife before we got married.
Okay, so sentimental value. So you're saying just because you drove that to high school, you went out with your brothers, and I'm sure caused some problems, and that was the truck that you took your wife on your first date. Those are the reasons that you want to do this particular truck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, sentimental value trumps all. I don't blame him at all. When he first came and talked to me at work about doing this project, I didn't understand why until he told me that exact response. And question number 3, did the throwout bearing fix the problem with the truck? And we're going to show you that in today's episode. Now what we're going to do is, the guest mechanic is Arthur. Tommy is not here today, and we are itching to try and see if our cure works on this truck. You saw in our last video, we had this thing in and out, in and out, in and out so many times it was ridiculous. Well, let me show you the problem, I think. We're going to find out if it works today. So for those of you who don't know, this is a throwout bearing or a clutch release bearing. Basically, this rides on a shaft, and it goes up against the clutch pressure plate, and it rotates. And this is what moves the fingers on the clutch, which releases the pressure, which allows the clutch disc to rotate and disconnect the manual transmission from the engine. That allows you not to drive through on top of somebody. It allows you to stop the engine from pushing the car down the street. So that one is not deep enough for us to grab the clutch forks in time. This right here is our new throwout bearing. This new throwout bearing here, it's the same diameter here, so slide over the shaft, but it is a 1/2 inch longer this direction. So if you'll notice where those line up, the bottom one sticks further a 1/2 inch out towards the pressure plate. And we think that this is going to be the cure. Now I got to tell you, I didn't figure it out myself. And to find out if it's going to fix our problem, you don't have to stay to the end. You have to stay somewhere in the middle and then stay to the end to find out whether it actually did it or not. So we are going to get started on our installation, and we're going to see if the 1377C is a cure for all of our woes. All right, here we are getting ready to install this critter. I'm going to show you installing the throwout bearing onto the clutch fork, and we'll put the clutch fork in. Then we're going to show you a magical way that when you're underneath a car like this, how you have to use a floor jack with your foot to jack it up instead of your hand. And mechanics do it all the time. We don't have a lift, so this is what we're going to do. So we'll get it installed. We're going to try and get this thing stabbed, and let's see if we can make this thing run. All right, we have our throwout bearing. We have our clutch fork. This is what the throwout bearing is going to ride on. That's what she does right there. And then we got to get this inside here. We're going to slide this over our shaft. And that's happy that it fits. We're going to get this girl up in there. Oops. We're going to take one thing off first, our experimental. We have these little guys here. This is like a little retainer clip just so that things stay in place while we're installing it. And as the arm goes back and forth, you'll see, hopefully you can see that throwout bearing moves back and forth. And that's what pushes on the clutch. So we have that installed. And we are ready to try and take this thing up. Yeehaw. All right, let me show you real quick. All right, you see here, that maybe not be able to see. You'll see that the handle for the jack is sticking out here. And when we do this, we have to jack it up with our foot. And there's nothing else you can do unless you had a third person here, which I never seem to have. But anyway, that's how we're going to do it. So I'm going to put you back here. We're going to get a little work done and see if we can get this installed. All right, Arturo, climb up inside there. You can fire up that camera up there. And we're going to start taking this up. You just hang on to her. Is it jammed?
It's hitting on, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we just keep on moving it around. We can actually slide it a little forward. Watch your pinkies. If you feel it start to sort of bind up or anything, start wiggling it around. Do you have that flange up on top of that?
Yes.
Up on top of the floor where I showed you?
Yeah, the one on the left side.
Yeah, the driver's side?
Yeah.
How are you doing on that back bracket I showed you? Do I need to come my way?
Maybe, yeah, just a little bit. There you go. Plenty of room now.
We still okay?
Yeah, everything looks good as far as I can tell.
So this is the first time that Arthur and I have done any mechanical work on his truck together. You get used to working with certain people, and I'm not used to working with Arthur, so I ask a lot of questions just to make sure that we're headed the right direction. Feels hung up on something.
Can't tell what's hung up on.
What's that?
I can't tell what's hung up on. Oh, the gas line is right up against it.
Okay. Alright, let me slide this floor. I need to go up further. Alright, see if you can lift up on the back a little bit, sort of. You go higher, I guess. Are you lined up on those pins? Can you see the pins?
You gotta rotate it down towards you.
Okay. Okay, which direction does it need to go?
It needs to come down towards you about.
Alright, let's make it go clunk clunk. Oh, grab it and push it in. Sort of lift and push. Is it meeting up on top?
Yeah.
Alright, put a couple bolts in. Well, that didn't go too bad for a couple of yahoos. That should be the right size up there. Well, for now, just ever so gently. Ready? You got that all tightened up there?
I got it tight, but not really super tight.
Alright, tighten her all up, all the way tight now. Alright. We gotta get this girl back on there. Alright, you can come down underneath here now, on the other side.
Okay.
There's more than that.
That's all I can see from here.
Alright. Lock washer and nut. Makes it much easier to do that transmission than having to pull the engine and transmission.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Alright.
It was already shaped like this?
Yeah, this
Before?
is already shaped like that.
I like that. It looks kind of cool.
Probably in the cab. There's 4 little bolts. that shifter in?
Yeah.
Do you have that fuel line bolted back on? Alrighty. We have it all installed. We are on the verge of either crying like a little baby or jumping for joy. What I'm going to have Arthur do is climb inside. He's going to get our nice little seat there. He's going to fire it up. He's going to put the clutch in. I'm going to be filming that tire, and we'll know whether this thing works right now. So here we go. All right, nobody can see me, but everyone can hear me, both cameras. We're going to have Arthur give that a fire. Hold on, make sure you start it with the clutch in. Let's make sure it's in neutral also. Okay.
Yeah, it's in neutral.
We're going to fire it up. We're going to see if this thing works. Rock and roll. Put it first. That right there is not good news. Son of a gun. All right, this is test number 2. We're going to see if the next alteration worked. Give her a shot, Arthur. All right, that almost worked. I'm going to check one more thing. All right, we got attempt number 3. If this doesn't work, 3 strikes, we're out. We quit for today. Fire it up, Arthur. Does it work? Not good. I love spending money and time and not fixing a problem. All right, we pulled the transmission again. We have one more attempt. So we changed the fulcrum on the pivot point. We're gonna see if this works. So Arthur's gonna get in and start it. I'm gonna point this camera towards that tire. And if it doesn't work, I promise you I quit today. We'll be done. All right, here we go. What's that?
So do you want the camera in here?
Nope, I'm over that.
Okay.
Shut it up. I do not know what's going on. I don't understand what's going on. Very frustrated. Make sure you check out our merchandise store at www.theoddrodgarage.com. Share the link. Thanks for watching.